For you guys, for the actors, I'm curious because so much of what makes an actor's performance is by the costumes, by, the extra little things. And in a superhero movie, that is, whether it be the makeup and stuff. So can you just walk us through how much that helped inform who your characters are and what some of these costumes were with the fittings? I mean, how difficult was it to find what you were going to look like?
Who else want to? I feel like
we went through a number of tests to find the look of Sinestro, if you're interested. I think the initial artwork and concept for him was slightly different to where we ended up, but it was through a process of elimination that we were able to kind of find what felt best. And in terms of the costume, obviously the Green Lantern uniforms are being computer generated so that they will become of the skin, kind of, rather than the idea of rushing into foam box and changing into lycra. It becomes much more kind of interesting. And yeah, as actors, once you get to understand and get your head around that and see the way you look, it's of enormous help. And I think we all found our characters in that, that process.
And I think it's important for us to see them too as we're going along, because when we're actually shooting, we're in motion capture suits, which obviously aren't the same. But the Green Lantern suits are biological manifestations of the ring bearer, and there's something really interesting about that for me. So the first time I saw the Green Lantern outfit, that was hugely informative. Personally, I was relieved that they got rid of the white gloves, because I don't think he's an opera singer, but I do like that they really maintained a sense of continuity. I think in exactly the mythology of the suit, what the suit is, and how it represents, how it forms, and it's a sort of a second skin, as Mark said. And I think that's fascinating. And everything else in terms of wardrobe for me it was great to see that there was a classic kind of timeless feel to everything that we're wearing. Nothing really said we're in the present, the future, or the past, and I think that's important in a movie like this.
Well, it was amazing to see our costume designer, Nyla, work. It was incredible because she created the costumes not only for us on Earth, but then she also was designing these costumes for all these Green Lanterns in Oa, and how they contrast each other, but how they can still fit in the same movie was just a wonderful process. And for me personally, she runs a company, but she's also a fighter pilot. So balancing what would this woman who jumps in a plane, what would she wear to work, especially when she's in love with the person who's there working with her, so it was, there were so many different layers to what someone wears, because that's how you present yourself every day. And to me, when I feel like the person most is when I'm in their clothes and in their hair, in this case. Carol Ferris has always had dark hair in the comics, and that was something that was very important to us to get right. So we did like 14 different shades of brown. It was really kind of absurd, but we settled on a shade of brown, and I think it was very right.
Peter, you had some various incarnations too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Well, just how that helped inform your character. I mean, when you put the heads on, I mean, what?
Well, of course. I mean, there were days where the only part of my body from the nipples up that was me was the tip of my nose. It was nice that they always left something like that. That's the part that keeps, they call that the sanity button. You go, oh, I'm still me. I was saying before that looking the way you look, and walking around and interacting with people for the past 39 years for me has taught me something about, like, if I go like that, and I know people read it as something. You get used to the way that your face works to communicate. So when you put on a different face, it looks like me in some ways, but I'm covered also. You lose track a little bit of what means what, and I would never do this for any other character, but I spent a lot of time in front of the mirror, just looking at myself, and I'd be so happy at the end of the day when it all came off and I was really handsome again. But it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and I might become like one of those prosthetic actors. I'll make it my métier.
Thank you.
Ryan, it was really cool that you quoted the oath for the little kid at the panel. It was really, really enchanting. I was wondering, is it going to be PG so young audiences can enjoy the movie?
I would assume it's PG.
PG-13.
Yeah, PG-13.
No more than PG-13.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that kid was 31 flavors of super cute. Oh my God. At first I thought he was a plant. Like Warner Brothers did this. Oh God, this is embarrassing. And then I met him backstage and he was there with his dad and he just was beaming ear to ear. Hanging out with the little Connor, is his name. Yeah.
Hi, Joanna Zdobinska from Polish Press. I have a question for the cast. Can you talk a little bit about preparations for your roles? What was the most challenging thing, difficulties, the easy way? How did you get in contact with your role? And I have a question for Mark Strong. You seem to be specializing in the sinister characters lately. Do you have some kind of way of washing out the sinister, the badness of the characters and being the good person after that?
Well, weirdly, recently, being sinister is my work. So, like any normal person, you go home and you kind of leave work, and maybe it's therapy. I don't know. I wander around in real life being genial and charming. I hope, and then at work I can exorcise and manifest all that nastiness. Getting in touch with character. You have to know what the job of your character is within the narrative, really, and understand what function he serves. With Sinestro, that's pretty straightforward. Certainly in this one, I think he's a broad stroke. You understand who he is and what his purpose is.